Ed Rempel, you are a fee-for-service financial planner, a tax accountant, and the host of the popular blog Unconventional Wisdom. Ed, this is the third time that I speak to you. I'm so grateful that you put up time to put up with my questions. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Always good talking to you, Elaine.
So Ed, I want to ask you today about Bitcoin. As you know, I'm a blogger as well, not as good as you, and I get these questions all the time. What should I do with Bitcoin? Should I invest in Bitcoin? And I hate to even think of it as an investment. I like to think of it as money that people put aside to go to the casino or to buy the lottery. But then again, I'm not an expert. So that's why I decided to give you a call and see what's your thoughts about Bitcoin. Should my readers buy some Bitcoin right now?
Well, actually, you know what? I agree with you completely, Elaine. I don't actually see it as an investment. I like the way you put in quotes investment, right? I don't really see it as an investment per se. And you know what? When you look at an investment, there should be like an intrinsic value. What's it actually worth? And with Bitcoin, there's no way to calculate that. So the truth is, it could go up to infinity, and it could go all the way to zero, and there's nothing that would stop it. So, like we invest mostly in, equities and the stock market. People think Bitcoin goes up and down like the stock market, but there's a big difference in that the stock market, you're investing in companies that make profits, and the profits rise over time. And that's why the stock market very reliably goes up over the long term. So based on history, 25 years from now, the stock market will be between 7 and 17 times higher than today. What will Bitcoin be? I have absolutely no idea. No idea. So I put it in the same category, like we get these bubbles now and then, and there are things with no intrinsic value. And so, back in the 1600s, there was the tulip bubbles. In the 1700s, it was a South Sea bubble. We had it around 2000, we had the dot-com bubble. And it wasn't just technology companies. It was dot-com companies were like that because no profits, right? So it was just entirely speculative. And that's what it is here. It's entirely speculative. So I would suggest what you do, like if you put money in there, put money that you could expect to lose all of it.
Okay.
Right?
Could you define exactly what is intrinsic value? And you just mentioned a few bubbles there. And in those bubbles, I mean, the tulip mania, at the very worst, you had a beautiful tulip. So there was some value in there. I agree with you. There's no intrinsic value in Bitcoin because at the end of the day, it's just digits. But can you define intrinsic value?
Well, even the tulip would die after a few weeks. Right? So, so like we're investing in stocks, investing in companies, and they have a profit. Right. So you can calculate what a company is theoretically worth, and what it's theoretically worth is you take the profit of the company, what you expect it to be over the next 5-10 years, and you work it back with with inflation, and you kind of work out what your share of that profit should be worth. And that's a good guide to what the shares of a company should be worth. There's a lot of other reasons that determine a price for a company. A lot of it is also the growth percentage, but you can figure out, you can estimate, and there is a solid value. And they don't go to zero because these companies are making profits. There's always going to be somebody that if it falls low enough, there will be people that want to buy it because it makes lots of profit, right? And you get a share of that profit as an owner. So that's why there's an underlying floor of value that you get, not a store of value, but a floor of value that you get with stocks, intrinsic value. Bitcoin, there is nothing. It's had 90% falls already, and these other bubbles fell 90% or 100%. And I don't know that that's going to happen. I don't know what'll happen with Bitcoin. I have no idea. But to me, it's not an investment. It's not something. It's just pure speculation. I would call it fun. Like if you buy it, consider it entertainment. If you lose money, think of, that's why I could have gone for dinner. Instead, I just bought this thing and it went to zero. And
it's like watching a bad movie, bad entertainment.
And, right now, people are buying it, so people are thinking it's a currency, but it's not a currency because a currency has to be pretty stable. Like if you're going to sell your house to get a few Bitcoin. Would you sell your house for Bitcoin? Well, no, you want something that's reasonably stable to be a currency. And now it's not a currency. People are just buying it just because it's purely speculative, right? It'll have to, before it could be a currency, it would have to be a very steady value for a while, so we know what it's worth, and we can count, for some reason we can count on that value, which we can't for Bitcoin.
Okay, so it's not an investment because it doesn't produce anything in return. It's not like having a real estate that you get rent money, or having a stock that you get some dividends, or or a bond that you get some interest. So it's definitely not an investment. It's not a currency because I cannot go to the store and buy, I don't know, a gallon of milk with my Bitcoin, and I don't think it would be accepted, or I wouldn't take Bitcoin for my house. But a lot of quote unquote respectable people are promoting Bitcoin. I mean, we have Elon Musk. He just invested $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. We have Square, or Jack Dorsey, investing, what is it, 700 and something million of it. What do you make out of this? I mean, these are people who supposedly know what they're doing with their money.
Yeah, I mean, there's the odd person like that's putting it in, and I don't fully understand. I have to read a little bit more about why he's actually doing that, but it could be that he's I don't know, he's just always up on trends and something, but I don't know. It's like I'm in the investment. I talk to lots of really smart investors, and in fact, I work with what I think are a team of the world's best investors, and none of them have any interest in any of the cryptos at all. They all make good money on with their stock market investments over time. So I mean, thing is, there's a move towards I think we need some sort of a faster payment systems and all that, and that's probably what a lot of this is. The big problem right now is, outside of speculation, the main use for cryptocurrency is organized crime and getting money across the borders to avoid tax. So I think eventually regulators are going to try to get in on this, because it's being used for a lot of illicit things. But then it's a question of how do you, maybe we need some kind of a world currency that's electronic, and maybe this goes towards that. But I don't know. There's a whole bunch of different ones. The other way to look at it is, when the car companies came out, the car companies came out in the 20s. There were lots of car companies. There were like 50 of them. And now it's, 3 survived. And it could be right now, there's like 50 different cryptocurrencies. And one of the scenarios is all of them except 1 or 2 go to zero, and then 1 or 2 survive.
Right.
Which ones? I don't know. You know what I mean? So, but to me, I just don't see it as a value. And actually, let me tell you a big risk with it. How many passwords do you have, and have you ever forgotten a password?
So, all the time.
Okay, if you have Bitcoin and you forgot your password, your money is lost. There is nothing that you can't appeal to the company. I've been through this with a guy who lost millions, and they went to the CEO of a company that said they could get it. It's gone. Your money is just lost. So,
wow.
So and if you write it down, somebody sees it written down, they can get in, they can steal it, and it's theirs.
Wow.
So, and yet you have to remember it, but never ever forget it. The story that I thought, the guy died suddenly, and he was a guy who had complex, always did complex passwords, so no way his family could guess. He had I don't know what he had, 5 or 10 million in a cryptocurrency gone.
Wow. Okay, so bottom line, according from what I understand from you, if you want to have fun, like gambling fun, then it's okay to I don't know, put $100 in Bitcoin. Otherwise, do not consider it as an investment. Is that what you're saying?
That's bottom line what I'm saying. Yeah, and if you buy it and ride it up a little bit, then think of it a little bit like musical chairs. Like, to me, is some people who get out early may make some money, but the ones that hold it until the bitter end, I'm not an expert on it, but I'm going to put my own really rough number. I'll give us somewhere between 80 and 95% chance that it eventually wipes out, that it eventually falls by 90% or more.
Wow.
Okay,
Okay,
so
well,
it's like a musical chairs, like who gets stuck with it at the end, right? Like you know what happens with these speculative things is they go up and up because people keep buying, but then they start to fall, and then they all of a sudden get some momentum, and then everybody's dumping them, and that's when like when it falls, it'll fall fast. Like 90% in 3 days is a fairly likely scenario. You know what I mean? So now, so
okay.
anyway, I don't say I'm an expert, but all I'm saying is, put your serious long-term money in things like the stock market that have great long-term growth, and just make this fun.
Okay, Ed, can you tell us where can listeners find out more about you and the work that you do?
Yes. Okay. So I have a financial blog about educating the public. It's called Unconventional Wisdom, and you can find it with my name, www.edrempel.com. And so it's actually the #1 financial blog in Canada for a full service financial planner. And it's very unconventional. What you'll get there is the wisdom that you don't get anywhere else about what really works with finances. And so I've been writing comprehensive plans for people for 25 years. And there's actually hardly any competition in Canada for what we do, writing these detailed plans, which really, I think, set people off on the right direction. And then we take a certain number of clients on after they have a plan. We take a certain number of clients on as full service clients, but we only take on clients where we work with them 100%. But then we're there as their experts to help them achieve all of the goals that they set. We have portfolio managers that have been getting above index returns, that we think are reliable. And so we're out trying to make a difference in people's lives. But read the blog, you'll find it really interesting.
Ed, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Always great talking to you, Elaine.